Oh, well, we're wearing down our blooming bloodlines. These girls were the actual sweatbox bees. They've kind of produce a reasonable amount of honey, but they're a bit crazy and they keep swarming. So they've actually made 2 swarms this year. I sort of grabbed one swarm and popped it in this box, and the other swarm buggered off into a tree, and then I had to chase it around the orchard for half a day. I eventually got it in a box just up here because anyway. Of course, you can't bring them back into the shed if they're only 20 metres away. So I took that one out to the isolation ward with the rest of the swarms that I'd caught during the year. But I thought we'd better come here, have a look at what these sweatbox bees are doing. I don't actually think they're a keeper as far as their bloodline goes, because they're a little bit angry and they're a little bit crazy when they want to swarm all the time. So if you wanted to breed, I suppose it would be a good idea, but you don't really want them swarming, because when they swarm, then your honey production falls through the floor. So it's kind of, what's that word? Counterintuitive. That's a fancy big word for me, isn't it? Anyway, we're going to poke our head in here and see what's going on. We'll give them a little bit of a puff. Make sure they all feel happy or get distracted if nothing else. Oh, crumbs, girls. It feels like you've been busy in here since you arrived. Oh. Some bloke better go and find a hive mat, I think. Oh, joys of stuff going in all directions we have. Just whizzle this off of here. And hang on, I'll just get this lid over here. Oh, and they can go on. I can put that bit of honeycomb in here for an hour. I didn't actually bring another super. I didn't expect these to be quite that fit. There you go. You never can tell, can you? And one thing's for sure in this beekeeping gig, whatever you think's going to happen, something else is actually happening. You should be more prepared, MJ. I was, but we've run out of boxes on this journey. I think that's a 10 frame box too, isn't it? Right, let's have a bit of a peekaboo who's doing what in here. Just slide it across this way if that's alright with you. Save me reaching across there. Doesn't want to come up. We'll find one that wants to come up easy, so for the first one at least. Yeah, there you go, look at that. My goodness. It's a pity they're a little bit swarmy because they're pretty chilled out and they lay nicely. Maybe they'll... Oh, there you go. Have a look at that. I think these girls are going to need a super. They're rocketing off. I thought it was only a little swarm too. That's pretty good. She's doing a good job. You might get a reprieve yet, chick. Who knows? There's a review happening here. This is what you call making decisions on the run. It definitely needs to... I don't really know where they're getting all their food from because there's not a lot flowering around here. But I tell you what, the fact that a bee can fly for at least 5 k's easy to forage, that's a pretty big area if you work it out. If you've ever get it, next time you're in your car, put your bloomin' counter on 0 and find out how far 5 k's is. It's quite amazing how far they can fly. And they'll actually fly up to 13 k's if they have to, but it's not as effective. I mean, a good effective foraging area is around about a 5k circle. It's amazing when you think about how this little tiny creature could fly that far. I think they fly at about 20 k's an hour, I reckon, because I've driven along next to them. They're going about that fast. These girls definitely need a super because they've got some weight happening here. Yeah, we'll just push the frames back to where they belong. Pop our first frame back in, which is insanely good. You know what, you ladies might get a reprieve yet if you keep that up. Maybe I'll have to give you more room so you can so you don't explode so easily. Oh, I'll have to bring a super back for them anyway, that's for sure. Beautiful. Sorry, chicks, you're not happy to see us, I know. Let's have a look at your neighbours. This is our original sweatbox. The sweatbox is still sitting over there that they came in here. Man, that was a bit hectic, wasn't it, trying to cut them out of that thing? Lordy, dordy, dordy. At least they did get out of there reasonable. I think my hive stand's a little bit too tall. I put them up here when it was like short, but now it's got the super on the top. It's making life a bit complicated. Let's just see how the honey flow is going before we take the super off. And it feels jolly heavy. It hasn't actually been ripened yet, but it's golly going along pretty good. That side's ripe, and this side's still just about. Girls, Girls. Cool. A little bit of sweatbox bee honey coming along. Whew, yeah, you what? That's going to be heavy to lift off of there. Oh, that's why some people like the 8-frame box, and then there's quite a lot of people that actually have the little half boxes, so that they're not so heavy to move. But, you know, hell. At this stage of my journey, there's only so many different variations I can afford. Here we go. Oh, golly. Hello, everybody. I said, hello, Bush Bee Man. We're happy to see you. Maybe not. Hopefully they're happy to see us. They shouldn't be too mad with us, surely. Not that it matters much, but they're a nice colour. Let's see if we can't get one out of here to have a bit of a start. Now, I can't remember whether we've still got any cutouts in here or not. Pretty sure we did, and then I think they've gone through the blooming extracting plant since then. Looking all right. Where are we going to put that? Can I put that over there for a minute? Oh, see, that's a better height when it gets down here like that. And that's all just honey. So they usually put a frame or two of honey on the outside of your brood box. Yow! I think I've got a hole in my glove. Strafe. Oh, there's some blooming heck. There's some drone cone. That's not really what you want to see. You don't want to be growing too much drones, because all they do is eat a lot of food and don't do much good at all. But still, anyway, she obviously is going to do some mating, spread her genetics across the blooming mating field. I reckon there's some brood on this one. It looks quite nice. It's amazing how different the weight is when it's just brood. That looks pretty good to me. She's a bit more spotty dog than her young sister, but she's still doing all right. Can't see anything unhealthy in there, which is good. That's a good start. Actually, I suppose, in reality, it's actually her daughter, not her sister, isn't it? It's funny how it all works, but I tell you what, Mum's doing a good job. Yeah, be proud. No wonder you blooming explode with population, the amount you lay in here. Goodness me, chicks. What's that, 2 full frames and another 3/4 of one here? Not much on the back side. That's all right. You get that. Because you've got to have some that have hatched out and some that are laying some new ones. Because, of course, in the summer they don't live very long, the little darlings, so they've got to keep making more and more and more of themselves. Look at them all dangling on the bottom trying to get away from us. Looks pretty good to me. Couple more and we're all good, I reckon. They're not as angry as I thought. They're a little bit flighty, but not too crazy. No, not as psycho as those blooming hobbit bees were. They were crazy, they were. No, they've definitely got the chop. Maybe they come good after a while. I don't know, when you play around with them and get them tidied up and get used to you being there. Because I read a bit of research about beekeeping in the old days. And of course, in the original format, they would have had a lot of feral bees from the surrounding areas. They would have had heaps of feral bees for their colonies. And they used to say that after a while, the bees would settle down and get used to them being worked and didn't mind you so much. So, I don't know. I wonder if they've got a collective memory. I guess the Queen lives for 3 or 4 years. She'd remember. Can you imagine if the Queen leaves a little note on her bloody desk when she buggers off and sends for the new Queen to turn up, and the new Queen goes through her desk and has a look at the little notes and says, "It's okay if them bloody polar bears turn up, they're not going to do too much harm, just chill the fuck out, otherwise they're just as likely to chop your head off." And talking about chopping your heads off, if you actually have a look through history, the untold stories that are said about in rhymes, we've got a new show investigating the history of rhymes. If you want to check out our other show, True Rhymes, just click on the link in this episode and you can go over there and check me out with my crazy ass green tie on. Yep. Whew. Golly gosh, you wouldn't think that'd be so heavy. Gets bloody weighty, this stuff. And you don't have to worry too much about all the excitement of the heat in your shed. It's probably obviously not completely ideal to have bees in your shed, but we don't come here very often, so I don't know. It's an interesting experiment to see whether they work in the shade. And they seem to know whether it's warm or not outside. The funniest time is when it's pissing down rain and they come flying out of the hive and they put their nose out there and they go, "Bugger off, it's raining, what's going on?" And then they go back in here and then I'm assuming whoever's in charge in the box says, "Get out of there, it's not raining." And they say, "Yeah, but you're in the shed." Well, I think all in all, apart from the fact that we lost the other swarm, I think they're looking pretty good. I reckon they're going to definitely get a reprieve and get to hang around, and you never know. They might even get on the breeding program yet. So we'll have the kindy bees, the sweatbox bees, and who knows bees. Oh, thanks, girls.